First story. My wife slept with a coworker after getting very drunk. This happened after my cyber affair. So this is the breakdown of our story. We have been married for just over 3 years now. We dated for about 2.5 years before that. We both love each other and have had an extremely happy life together until recently, so it started with my mistake. One year I decided to get in better shape. I have always loved going to the gym and lifting, but I have never done cardio or taken my eating habits seriously, so I have been overweight, with a power lifter type build. 1 year into our marriage I decided to get in good shape. I hired a high school acquaintance that has now become a friend to help me with my diet, as he is in the fitness industry. I got in pretty decent shape, and because of my lifting habits, I still had quite a bit of muscle on my frame. My friend decided to encourage me to compete in a men's physique competition, as it would give me a goal to strive towards, and he thought I could do well. So I committed to it and started getting more strict with my diet and doing more cardio, and by the time I competed, I was in phenomenal shape. I ended up winning first place in a couple areas and I was very excited. My wife was very supportive, and she ended up joining me getting back in shape, and she became very fit as well. All my life up to this point I have never been in good shape, and haven't had much attention from women. After this glow up, I started receiving a ton of attention, and it was quite the ego boost and made me feel very good. This ended up with me having a cyber affair, and eventually led to me actually going to hang out with a woman from my gym at the pool in her apartment complex. Obviously this was a huge mistake and a huge violation of trust. It never got physical and I never physically cheated on my wife, but clearly crossed serious boundaries, and I deeply regret it. This happened in late April, early May, and we were in the process of healing and going forward as a couple. We were reading marriage books, infidelity books, and trying to bond more closely as a couple. Things were going really well from my perspective, and it seemed like my wife agreed. I travel for work and my wife is a teacher. She also is a fire dispatcher during the summer months to make extra money. This last sales trip I went on was from July 16th to July 30th. And my wife picked up a dispatching gig in an out-of-town location that she had to travel to for the exact same time frame, so that while I am gone, she stays busy and makes great money as well. This was going to help us financially quite a lot, as we had acquired some credit card debt that we have since paid off because of these 2 trips. In the office she was working at, there was a lead dispatcher who doesn't necessarily have authority over her and isn't her boss, but is the leader of the other dispatchers, including my wife. I have actually met this man before, as my wife has done a gig for dispatching in this area before, and I traveled with her that time. This man began to show a lot of interest in my wife and began heavily flirting with her. She never reciprocated and has other dispatcher to back that up. My wife is also not good with confrontation, so she basically took the approach of ignoring his flirtation in order to keep awkwardness down in the office. Basically she didn't want to be rude, shutting him down and make things awkward between everyone, so she took his flirtation as lighthearted and not serious. It got to the point where he was sending her extremely inappropriate text messages, and she was forwarding me everything asking what she should do. I told her she needs to set a boundary with him, even if it makes things awkward, because he had gotten extremely inappropriate and way out of line. She did this, but felt like there was a part of me that was blaming her for him flirting with her. According to the text messages, she did not flirt back. Again, she sent me screenshots of everything. 4 nights before the end of the trip, she went out to the bar with another dispatcher. There was also 3 other men with them from firefighting, that the man sending her inappropriate texts. According to her, everyone was drinking and having fun, and there was one man there specifically who is flirting with her. My wife is an attractive woman, so she actually has quite a few men hit on her often, and it's never been a big deal to me. I totally understand why they are hitting on her. She is beautiful. She also does not control who hits on her. Again, this was a group setting, so in my mind nothing too crazy of a red flag. I think my wife deserves to go out and have fun, especially when she's working 12 to 16 hours per day while on assignment 3 nights before our trip ends. The same group of 3 men text the other woman my wife had gone to the bar with to see if they all wanted to go out to the bar again. My wife and the other woman both declined because they had gotten so drunk the night before and worked so much that next day that they were exhausted. Then the next day, after not going out, the same proposition was given, and they all decided to go out one more time before they would leave the assignment. This other female was doing the same thing my wife was doing and was only there temporarily for the same time my wife was. At the bar my wife got completely drunk. As a side note, my wife does not handle her liquor well and does not regulate herself well almost ever when it comes to alcohol. She very often gets too drunk when she drinks. This has never led to problems before, the worst thing being is just fighting. This time, the same man who had been flirting with her, the first outing, continued flirting with her heavily and buying her drinks. It ended up that they all headed back to the other female dispatcher's hotel room. Everyone in this group to my knowledge is single besides my wife. All of these people were staying at the same hotel, which is common when it comes to government jobs like this. They often get discounts by buying in bulk when they pay for the hotels for the temporary employees. While in the other female dispatcher's hotel room, they were all talking for a while, and my wife decided to head back to her hotel room. The man who had been flirting with her the whole night followed her out and went back to the hotel room with her, and she let him come inside the room with her. They ended up sitting on the bed and talking for over an hour, including about personal things, and this included the issues we have had in our marriage because of me. Eventually, he made a move on her and kissed her. According to her, she pushed away. This did not deter him, and he kissed her again and she did not push back this time. They began kissing, and he began fondling her chest, to which she responded by fondling his groin, and they ended up having sex. According to her, it was extremely brief and he ended up spending the night there. She said he comforted her while she cried. The next day he left and she went to work. She was extremely distraught and ended up coming home a day early, so she was home one day before I ended up getting home. Once I got home, she picked me up from the airport and we drove back to our condo. I could tell something was off. About 10 minutes after being home, she spilled the beans and told me that she had slept with someone while being very drunk. I never in 1,000,000 years would have thought that she would have a physical affair. Now again, I am not innocent. I had broken her trust and had a cyber affair before her, but nothing physical. To me, a physical affair is so much bigger of a mistake. I'm having a hard time not thinking about it. She has been extremely remorseful and she came clean almost immediately once we were in person. We have now switched therapists to one who specializes in infidelity and we are working on reconciliation. I'm hoping to get some other people's perspective on the situation. She has never tried to put the blame on me, except for when we had a few drinks together, and she got fairly drunk and said that if she wasn't in the mental place that she was because of what I did, she would have never done this. Again, I don't know what to think. We both love each other and want to fix things. I guess I'm just looking to write this all down to get it off my chest and also hear y'all's opinion. Second story. Fiancé leading on wealthy client of hers, who's been hitting on her. She has pretty much accepted all his gifts and other things. No cheating yet, a fake. Our relationship is quite broken now. What should I do? Hello, I, 36M, have been together with my fiancé 33F for over 2 years. She has been living with me in my apartment for 1.5 years now. She was a professional tennis player in her younger years, and recently she decided to start coaching full-time. Our relationship for the last year has been a bit shaky due to both of us getting laid off. We worked in tech. Me dealing with my own stuff. I got a bit distant. Intimacy was a bit gone for a while. but in the last couple of months it has been getting better. Also, we don't really fight almost ever. Communication-wise, we have a pretty solid relationship. We understand each other. In the past we have talked about kids and marriage. I know her family well and she also knows mine. We have traveled twice to Spain to meet them. So, long story short, it's serious, but we had some bumps. She has many clients that are part of a tennis club where she coaches. She started coaching this particular guy about 3 to 4 months ago, who's this rich, outgoing, good-looking CEO, 47M, who's completely devoted to tennis and started getting lessons from her twice a week. He asked her if they could do a doubles tournament together, and this is when I find out about him, 'cause I go to the tournament to watch and support her. At the end they win, mostly 'cause of her. She's really damn good. And the guy in celebration hugs her a lot, lifts her up and gives her kisses on the cheek. When I saw this I was okay, that's a bit much, but whatever, he's excited that they won. At this point I don't think anything of it. A few days later, I learned that gifts her a €200 tennis racket as appreciation for the win, as she did most of the heavy lifting, him being a less experienced tennis player compared to her. At this point I was like, what? Weird, but still made nothing of it. A few weeks later my fiancé enters the biggest national tennis tournament in our country. It's a small country in Europe. She almost wins. She had about 6 matches throughout 3 days. The guy was there supporting her for every single match. One day he was there for 8 hours. At this point I already know something is up, and at home I ask her about this guy and what is his deal. My fiancé is like, yeah, I don't know, I guess he likes me, and I'm like, yeah, it kind of shows. Then she proceeds to tell me that this guy offered her to sponsor her if she wanted to do international tournaments again, as he noticed that she was so good. This includes travel arrangements, individual coaching with a pro coach, tournament fees, and absolutely everything. Tennis is expensive. This is when I get angry, because to me it seems like this obviously likes her and is pulling a major power play. She even told me that she was considering it. I told her that if she accepts that offer I'm basically done with her. This was a difficult conversation. It lasted for a few days. We then kinda forget about it. I trusted that she would deal with it. And a month later, meaning a few days ago, she tells me that she's doing a doubles tournament in another city. When I ask her who's her partner, she tells me that it's the rich dude. The city is a 2-hour drive from our city and the tournament would last 2 days. I obviously got enraged and started confronting her again, asking her questions. I learned that he had given her roses a week prior, and other smaller gifts, and she still continued with saying that she was considering his offer for the sponsorship. At this point I explode and explain to her the power play, and she's like indifferent to it, because obviously for her it's a big deal to be able to compete internationally again, and she hasn't really thought about the angle of this guy kind of controlling her by doing this. And at this point it's very clear to her that he's hitting on her hardcore, which means to me that she doesn't care about me or our relationship. I told her that I wanted to break up and that she should move away from my apartment. We have continued to talk for the past 3 days, and I took back what I said about breaking up. She said she wants to be with me, and she agreed that with this guy, yeah, she does feel special when he's nice to her, and obviously when he gave her the roses she threw them away, didn't take them home. But she only told me a week later, and because I asked her if he has given her flowers. Anyway, now we are in a phase of let's figure this out. I told her to eliminate him from her life completely, no more lessons or tournaments, and that's the only way we can continue. However, I still feel like she has betrayed me, and I've lost some respect for her. Not sure if I'm doing the right thing by continuing with this instead of standing my ground and telling her to leave. Deep down I do want to fix this, and I think she does too. Should I end things or continue the relationship? Any advice on what I should do? Fiancé is accepting gifts and advances from rich guy. She's okay with it, I'm not. What should I do? Third story. Found out my wife slept her ex. I, 44M, and my wife, 35F, have been married for about 4 weeks exactly. I love her dearly. I was a single dad of identical twin boys. It's been hard over the years to find a woman that is willing to date a man with kids, as they always seem to be scared off by it. Finally, I met my wife on a dating app in April 2023. We dated casually up until January 2024, when things got serious and exclusive. We are actually both divorced and have that in common. Mine was because my ex was unfaithful and developed drug and alcohol problems. Hers was because he was military and deployed a lot and became unfaithful as well. Fast forward to a month ago, we got married. We did it quick because I know she's the one. She's amazingly attractive and loyal. She even willingly, without me ever asking, gave me her location 24/7 and gives me access to her phone, tablet and computer, as there is nothing to hide. And no man could take her away from me, in her words, and I do trust her. There was a brief time around September-October 2023 that we had a fight and stopped talking. When we started talking again, I had asked her if she had been with anyone else in the time we weren't talking, and she said she went on a few dates, but nothing happened and she didn't like them. I trusted her. But something didn't add up in her story about how her ex recently, before we were married, tried to get back with her. She says she met up with him, but she couldn't get it out of her mind that he had been with her friend and cut it off fast. But another night when she was drunk, she told me the reason she talked to him again was only sexual. So, I decided to snoop. I figured it was better to snoop. Our relationship is so young, I don't want her feeling like I don't trust her, because the fact of the matter is, at this moment, I know in my heart and soul she won't cheat on me. She's in love with me and loves my children. But I found out she did hook up with her ex. I found his text thread with her and they haven't talked since OCT 2023, which is the month her and I started talking again. But I scrolled up and found tons of texting and even 3 sex videos of them together. Broke my heart to see that. I love my wife, and to see her enjoying another man like that on video had my whole body convulsing and shaking. Plus the before and after texts. It's all graphic. Still, I know she won't cheat on me, but now I'm stuck with 2 options. Do I sweep it under the rug and forget about it? After all, we weren't together then and I was seeing others in that time as well. Or do I risk making her feel I don't trust her now, which could ruin our fresh marriage, as trust is most important. On one hand, she lied about sleeping with him, but on the other, she's mine now and I know she hasn't talked to him and won't be taking to him. But she still lied that she was never with anyone sexually. So now I'm wondering if there was also others she was with sexually also. So much to consider, because she's been such an amazing bonus mother to my sons and they love her dearly. I'm thinking what I'll do is just tell her the reason I keep bringing it up is the story doesn't add up. It's not that I don't trust her. It's just that she told me once it was sexual when drunk, and now she's saying it didn't happen. And that I do trust her right now, and I know she would never do anything to mess up what we have. But I just want her to feel like she can be honest with me, even when those truths might not be comfortable or may hurt me in some way. That she doesn't have to lie to protect me from it and try to coax it out of her. I don't know, that's the best I got, honestly. I could keep going, but I'll stop. What should I do in this scenario?